The daughters of dust and ash. In the small, forgotten village of Kinyasi, nestled between parched hills and a dry, endless savanna, there lived 3 sisters, Adana, Nia and Zola. They were the children of the late Bakari and Amina, once respected farmers known for their kindness and generosity. But when the great drought came, it stripped the land of its life and stole their parents in one cruel season. Left as orphans, the sisters were barely more than shadows in the village. Their home was a crumbling clay hut with a roof that leaked during the rains and a floor that turned to dust during the dry season. Their clothes were tattered, their bodies gaunt from hunger, but it was not just the poverty that set them apart, it was the cruelty of the villagers. The people of Kinyasi whispered behind their backs. "Curse at blood," they said. "They bring nothing but bad luck. Look how even the rain avoids them." The whispers turned into actions. The sisters were barred from the well, forced to fetch water from a distant stream. When they sought work to earn food, they were turned away with cold eyes and sharp tongues. Adana, the eldest at 17, bore the weight of their survival. She woke before dawn to search for wild fruits and roots in the forest. Her hands were calloused, her feet scarred from walking miles on barren land. Nia, just 14, was the quiet one, spending her days drawing pictures in the dust, dreaming of a life far from the village. Zola, the youngest at 10, was the most fragile. She often clung to Adana's side, her large eyes filled with fear and sadness. One fateful day, the sisters were accused of stealing a sack of maize from the village chief. Though they pleaded their innocence, no one listened. The chief's men dragged them to the village square and humiliated them, forcing them to kneel on the hot ground under the scorching sun. "Leave our village," the chief spat, his voice dripping with contempt. "You are nothing but a burden." The sisters returned to their hut that evening, their spirits crushed. Zola cried until her voice grew hoarse, and even Adana, the strong one, could not hold back her tears. "Why does the world hate us?" Nia asked, her voice trembling. Adana, though her heart was breaking, pulled her sisters close. "Because they don't see us. But one day they will." The turning point came one stormy night when Mama Fatuma, an elderly woman who lived on the edge of the village, fell gravely ill. None of the villagers dared to visit her. They feared that her sickness would bring misfortune. The sisters, knowing the pain of being abandoned, decided to help. Through the pouring rain, Adana carried herbs she had foraged, Nia brought a tattered blanket, and Zola held a clay pot of water. For days they stayed by Mama Fatuma's side, nursing her back to health. When she finally recovered, the old woman looked at them with tears in her eyes. "You have hearts of gold," she said. "Do not let this cruel world harden them." Word spread of their kindness, but the villagers dismissed it as mere chance. The sisters returned to their quiet lives, still ostracized, but with a faint glimmer of hope in their hearts. Months later, during the harvest festival, the village was abuzz with excitement. Among the revelers were 3 brothers, wealthy merchants seeking trade routes through Kinyasi. Their fine clothes and confident demeanour set them apart. But what caught their attention was not the festival itself, but 3 quiet figures sitting at the edge of the crowd. The brothers were drawn to Adana, Nia and Zola, not for their beauty, but for the quiet strength in their eyes. They approached the sisters, speaking to them with a respect the girls had never known. Against the protests of the villagers, who scoffed at the idea of anyone marrying the cursed sisters, the brothers proposed. The weddings were simple, held under the great baobab tree, with Mama Fatuma as their witness. As the years passed, the sisters and their husbands brought prosperity to Kinyasi. They built wells that never ran dry, a school that welcomed all children, and a clinic for the sick. They employed villagers, ensuring no one went hungry. One day, as they stood before a crowd in the village square, Adana spoke. Her voice was steady, but her words carried the weight of their past. "We were once outcasts," she said. "We know what it feels like to have nothing. But kindness saved us, and now we wish to save you." The villagers wept openly, their hearts heavy with guilt and gratitude. They had shunned the sisters when they needed love the most, yet the girls had returned only kindness. As the sun set over Kinyasi that evening, the village was transformed, not by wealth or power, but by the love of 3 sisters who had turned their pain into hope. The daughters of dust and ash had become the pillars of the community, proving that even in the darkest times, kindness could light the way.